Welcome to Aqua Talks, where marketing meets bold, game-changing ideas. Join your hosts, Larry Aldrich and Maddie Dudley, as they explore the art and science of cutting through the noise, capturing attention, and fostering meaningful connections with your audience. Whether you're a destination marketer, government contractor, or simply passionate about the transformative power of marketing, Aqua Talks offers engaging discussions, fresh insights, and actionable strategies designed to inspire and inform.
Today we're coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky, live at the eTourism Conference. We're going to be talking to some great DMOs today and some vendors, so stay tuned. Thanks for coming back into this episode of Aqua Talks. Today we have Daniel Horsch with Azira. How you doing, Dan?
Pretty good, Larry. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So it's great seeing you again.
Likewise.
Thanks for dinner last night. Chip and I enjoyed ourselves. It was a great.
Yeah, that
was a great call.
Yeah.
That was a great call. Cuban restaurant. Now, what was the name of the restaurant?
Oh man, you're gonna put me on the spot. La Bodeguita Mima. You might have to check it later on, but yes, excellent place. Cuban restaurant. We had a really good time.
That's why I asked him to pronounce it, because I couldn't even pronounce it.
I mean, you can't miss it.
I read it. I can read it.
If you ever come back, I mean, that was the biggest thing. I mean, coming up the neighborhood, I mean, it had like beautiful building, the facade. I mean, beautiful red car outside. I think it was a Cadillac or something like that. But it was a good time.
Really great food. So Danielle, introduce yourself, give your bio, and where you at, what you're doing with Azira, and what's been going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So Daniel Horsch, I'm a sales director with Azira. Azira, we are a company that specializes in geolocation, maybe turning insights into action, essentially, right? Oftentimes when I'm having conversations with our partners, is I liken us to the Swiss in a lot of ways, right? Is because depending on what the outcomes our partners are looking for, we work directly with different channel partners. We work with agencies like yourself. We work with different clients directly, right? But the cool thing about it is that our data is universal. While 99% of the conversations that I'm having are for travel and hospitality partners, the fact of the matter is our data is very universal, right? So it crosses a variety of different verticals. But the good thing is that when you have that type of data, at the end of the day, we're talking about travel, but the reality is we're still consumers, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a very important piece in some of how we're actually able to uncover insights and turn into actions, precisely.
Okay. Yeah. So we're at our second day of eTourism.
Yeah.
Great event. I believe I met you at Destinations International.
We did, yeah.
In Chicago.
Yes.
And you invited us to a dinner there and a happy hour. So again, thank you for that. We really enjoy working and talking and networking with Azira. I think we're growing a really good relationship there. Mm-hmm. And usually we jump into a trend. So as we jump into this conversation, are there any trends in the industry or anything top of mind that sticks out you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of focus on just being, more intentional, right? With any kind of strategy that a lot of our partners are doing. And I'm seeing that firsthand in conversations. Because again, you know exactly how it is, working, on the agency side, before any conversation begins, it's like, you just want to learn more, like, what are you truly after, mm-hmm. right? And more often than not, it's trying to be good storytellers so that at the end of the day, these destination marketing organizations, right, is that they want to go and beyond the traditional metrics, the KPIs, okay, impressions, click-through rates, and things like that, because what their partners and stakeholders are after, like, what is it actually bringing to our destination? Are we getting people through into our restaurants? Mm-hmm. Are we getting people to shop, staying longer, spending more? Where else are they going beyond the hotels, the attractions, things like that, right? That is huge because, again, yes, while, traditionally the idea is like, as we talk about all the time, is putting heads in beds, mm-hmm. but it's so much more than that, right? So I have the ability to be able to help tell a part in that story. Mm-hmm. So would you agree that that's some of the things that maybe you guys we're working on as well as far as trends are concerned?
Definitely is. And a lot of the trends that we're seeing and we're, definitely finding solutions for, especially, working with Azira, networking with Azira, is data and analytics is king. And the data isn't changing. How you get the data is being optimized.
True.
And being able to show that data, show the analytics, as fast as possible and as much real time as possible, so you can pivot.
Yes.
And make changes as quickly as you can to be able to see where you're going next, or how it's going to help a DMO, a destination, an airport, a recruitment station, veteran outreach, how that data and that analytics play a part in their growth and meeting their mission goals. So with data and analytics and data being a part of your what you do every day, do you see any challenges right now with the way where we're moving with how we receive the data, how we make decisions based off of the data, or data accuracy?
So the first thing that comes to mind is we live in an on-demand world, right? Yes. I have 2 kids, and so their life, they have understood, if I want to watch a movie, I can get it. I get it now. If I want to listen to, particular music, boom, it's there. Yeah. You and I both remember those days our days were different, right? Yeah. And so again, the challenge I'm facing, is like for destination marketers, right? Marketers in general, it's like they want something and it has to be immediate, right? Yes. And before we dive into that, right, it's all about setting expectations, right? Yeah. And so again, uncovering what that true ask is what is the objective of the campaign? Is it to bring in overnight stays? Well, absolutely. Well, how fast will I know that information? Well, it takes time, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? So how do we understand attribution windows, right? So case in point, again, we're fortunate to work with a variety of different clients, right? On campaigns that I'm working on now, it's more kind of, traditional, getting in front of them way in advance, right? And we have 30, 60, day attribution windows. But at the same time, also working with a client right now who's focused on driving event traffic, right? So they are specifically focused on driving interest and intent to driving ticket sales, right? But that is very different because they need to show an immediate return on investment, right? Yeah. So 2 very different things, which we are fully capable of doing. But again, it comes down to setting those expectations early so that by the time we show those outcomes, it makes sense, right? Because again, at the end of the day, we want to be able to provide information, but we want to be able to do it efficiently without sacrificing the quality of the information that we're giving to them, Yeah,
so with that in mind, let's just say you have a DMO in Florida. Okay. Let's just use that to start with. And that DMO sees that coming up, there's some pricing changes. Let's say it's not a drive-to destination. Most of the people that come into that, the tourists that come into that destination are flying into that destination. So what would be some of the data points we would look at for a destination that's not a drive-to destination, but you can drive there? Let's just say that they fly there. There's 2 relatively local airports. What kind of data would be important for flying into a specific destination when there's 2 airports? Let's say one is 20 minutes away, one's 45 minutes away. What kind of data would be important for a destination like that to try to determine how next quarter might be in a time when prices are higher?
It's a really good question. I think again, it would start at foundationally speaking, again, and that's really where we come in with our partners, being able to tie specific actions that are taking place, right? It's not interest or intent, right? These are what is taking place in market, going to hotels, going to airports. So to answer your question, the first thing we would do is we would analyze data over time, right? Because we know if the fly market's coming in, well, guess what? Well, we will go in and we'll polygon the specific airports to be able to lift insights of the true makeup of visitors coming into that area, right? So we can explore, again, knowing, hey, what market that serves, because of course you're going to have outbound, but we're really more, interested in inbound traffic, right? Then we take that information and we continue to slice and dice it based off of the markets they are interested in, right? To analyze, okay, who are you really interested in most? Therefore, we're targeting the right individual from said flight markets, right? Again, another major, differentiator of being able to remove that data, which you don't want, and only focus on the markets that are most important to you. Because then you say, hey, these are individuals that we know are flying in on a regular basis. But then you take it a step further and you say, hey, listen, we're not the only person that's doing this, right? These individuals are also flying other places. So then we can pick up on trends, knowing that, hey, these are the right individuals that do have no problems flying to going from point A to point B, right? Maybe that's a little different if you're trying about the drive market audience, right? So then we take that and we're like, all right, we're looking at other places to see how much people are coming in from their origin destination to others, right? Then we can kind of pick up on patterns to say, all right, again, fly versus drive market. And then last but not least, saying, hey, we can also find net new visitors too, right? Where else are they going? Have they been to your destination before? What other competitive destinations have they been, right? Because then you're kind of playing on just like, all right, you've seen them before, but you've never seen us. This is a chance to hook them in, right? So again, that is where, I always find it really valuable to kind of get into like the weeds, right? Of the data to really, truly hone in on the true person who's going to have the most impact possible, right? And so again, like other things that we kind of take into, consideration is high value visitors, right?
High value visitor, would we consider that like someone that might come and stay 3 days as opposed to someone who might come and stay 7?
Yeah. I mean, so, again, before I came to Azira, I mean, I've been in the industry for 15 plus years. Prior to, coming to, our side of the world, I was the director of marketing for a large destination in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, right? And one of the things that I noticed really quickly, speaking to kind of high value visitor, right, is that traditionally we have several markets, one of which was less than 2 hours outside of my destination, right? Great visitor profile, right? But the reality is that traditionally, and the data showed this, is that they only stayed for maybe 1.5 days. But we still spent a pretty decent, substantial amount of media reaching that individual. So we had to have a hard look at our markets to say, you know what, we really like them. It's not like but they already know about us. Instead, why don't we move some of that budget into more other appropriate markets that are going to stay 2-3 nights? Because again, we're utilizing the data to be more intentional with our dollars. Therefore, by the time we're seeking them, again, it's hitting that high value visitor, which of course, being able to more economic value for the destination, for the partners. So it's this kind of the downstream impact, a positive one, that goes very much into favor about reaching the right audience, Yeah.
So with that data, with the emergence of AI, how important is it being able to manage your AI usage and using AI as a research tool to crunch some of that data? And what does Azira do working with its partners to make that easier?
Yes. So again, if anybody has touched AI, which at this point, I mean, everybody has dabbled in AI in some capacity, right? Where I've seen, the biggest amount of value for us, and this is internal, right, is being able to take raw data sets and be able to analyze. I am not a data analyst. I'll just be honest. Like, that is just not me. However, now that I've introduced other prompts that I've learned along the lines, now I could be, again, really intentional of what I'm seeking out, because then we've all been it. Like, analysis paralysis is a very real thing. I've sat in there just like looking at staring at the screen, like, what am I seeing here? But with AI, it makes sense. It's like, what is that? Have you ever seen that one movie, The Hangover?
Yeah.
You remember
all three of them.
And Alan, and he was that thing with all his equations are coming to go through his head. But like that's me, but with AI's help. So now I'm able to find exactly what I want. So I'm spending less time like scratching my head over like, am I truly getting the right data here? So from that standpoint, that's been huge. And then I know that gives me the confidence in going and having these conversations once I put that in front of our partners that we're serving. But they're also doing their own analysis as well. But it's a really collaborative process, I would say, is because, again, we have our own data sets. Our partners have their own data sets. And really, I always invite that collaborative conversation of like, what do you have?
Yes.
Right? And that's important because I can bring in data and supplement it to a degree, but I'm always interested in what the partners bring to the table too. How can we work together to make the best use of all the information that we have? You know what I mean? So it's not siloed.
Yeah. In today's world, and sitting in front of that computer all day, every day, how important is it coming to events like eTourism and getting FaceTime with your partners?
I mean, that is huge, Larry. I mean, you know what I mean? We are still a relationship and people business. That is absolutely not gonna change, right? Yeah. That's why we're here. That's why we're having these conversations. I mean, again, I can take a virtual call all day long. Yeah. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, this is really where the best conversations happen, right? Yeah. Whether it's with AI or any other things that are happening, but no, this is definitely where it takes place.
Yeah, the networking here I think is fantastic. Whether it's the eTourism conference, whether it's Destination International. I mean, we've been regularly talking to you and Luis and Trisha since we've met you guys and Azira, to where we've never would have had to started building this relationship over a computer.
I'm curious. I mean, how, as a business owner who is also lives in the travel space, does some work just on the government side. I mean, just in this last year alone, I mean, how has AI been transformative for what you're doing as well? I mean, do you think we're continuing to head in the right direction, or what are you exactly doing to kind of prepare your own team and then your external partners, like, right?
Yeah, we're working with AI a lot. We use AI as an assistant. AI to us is another coworker. It doesn't run anything. It might help us as a backbone to some of the tools that we're working with, some of our tech stack that we've been working on. Definitely having AI integrated into that. It definitely helps us with some of the decisions we're making, some of the directions that we're going in, some of the reviewing that we're doing. We're reviewing from whether it's a proposal, a contract, some of the decisions that we make. AI is another level of decision making. So AI is that person sitting right next to you, and that's how we use AI. And going forward, AI is going to be more of a tool I don't want to give too much information on one of the big things that we got coming up, and it's going to be big. And AI is going to be an integral part of, like our intelligence officers say, it's getting rid of that 30-year headache. So we have a solution for that coming. Mm-hmm. And with that solution, I think it's going to be a game changer, not only in destination marketing, but in marketing to the federal government, marketing to the state governments, marketing to the private sector, marketing to some of the nonprofits that we have out there, outreach to veterans. Yeah. It's going to help all of that. But you still have to get out there and touch people, have FaceTime, build those relationships, build that trust. And coming to these events really does that a lot for us. Yeah. Helps us, let's just call friend relationships. Yeah. Because everything's a work relationship, but you want to build that relationship to where when someone sees you, they smile. Like every time we see Luis, he's smiling. And I just think he just smiles all day, every day anyway. And you smile, and Trisha smiles, but Luis has a different smile.
Yeah.
Luis' smile is different. Uh-huh. And it feels good. Yeah. And when you get out here and you build these relationships and we see you all the time, it's like, it strengthens that bond. And then you become better work partners that way. So it's really important to come to these events, and we'll continue to do those. So, with that said, between using AI, digitally and coming to these events, it makes a huge difference on what we do as a company, how we do it, the decisions as a business owner, and how we continue to work together, grow business together, manage business together. Growing it is one aspect of it. Managing it and executing it is another aspect.
I'm curious. I mean, you've known me enough now. Like, I'm an idea guy.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to find something, right? And oftentimes it comes from like real world experiences. But when you're out, and I know you do this on a regular basis too, when you're kind of building your pitch and some ideas that you're doing, how many ideas derive from an AI prompt, would you say?
A lot.
Yeah? Okay.
A lot. Sometimes I'll just come up with prompts to come up with ideas. And then I got to put it in notes. And then we will build something off of it. We'll build another approach. We'll build another management style. We'll build another idea on top of another idea. And you can't get complacent with where you are. You have to keep building and keep looking at it from other viewpoints. And those AI prompts help you come up with ideas to view it from another angle.
They sharpen it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've always it's not necessarily struggled with, but the whole thought process is that there is relatively no original idea anymore.
No. Yeah.
Right? And it's like, it hurts me because I'm like, oh, you search for that constantly, again, when you're trying to win new business or haven't engaging with a client or things like that. And it's like, I often wonder, it's like, okay, well, how much of that did it start from AI? And I think it's less of like, it's like it started from you, right? But then AI sharpens it, right? We'll see what happens. I mean, I imagine that many awards in the future will have started on a computer at a prompt, right? But there's still a person behind it.
Yes, you always have to have a person behind it. There's always that human factor, and I know that now is becoming something that you hear, the human factor. That's going to be something that you're going to hear more of. There's always those sayings. There's a new saying, the human factor. So
how many times do you have an idea? Like, where do you get your best ideas? Is it driving in the car, like in the shower, or
I get a lot of ideas at 4:00 in the morning when you're laying there, sleep, and something just pops in your head. Always when you don't have something to write it down.
Are you one of those guys that has like a notebook on his?
No, that's why I said it's always something, during a time when you can't just write it down, or when you're driving. And I had a friend of mine, a small business owner, entrepreneur, and she always told me, have that microphone on your phone to where if you're driving, as soon as that idea goes through your head, speak it into the microphone and save it. And I still don't do it. And I try to remember it, and then I get to a place where I can write it down, and I scratch it down really quick.
Well, I mean, we talked about meeting in Chicago.
Yes.
So I actually had one of those ideas in Chicago that I brought to that idea of fruition, right? So I'm the type of guy, it's like, when I'm oftentimes, and I love coming to events like this where I get to walk around the city and kind of explore and whatnot and just like let my mind wander, because more often than not, something like sparks something, right? So I'm in DI last year. Coming from LA, I took a red eye because I needed to get there coming in for another event. So I said, you know what? Well, I don't need an Uber. Why do I need an Uber into the city from the airport?
Yeah.
I got a metro, right? That's going to get me from point A to point B. Plus, I'll get to see the city in a unique way, right?
Yeah.
So there I am. I'm kind of rolling through, the station. We're stopping in different places. And mind you, DI takes place during the work week, right? So, I mean, you're still seeing people come and go, right? They're going from their different places for work and whatnot. And then I forget exactly what station I was in, and I got off, and lo and behold, I see this out-of-home placement in through kind of the tunnel, if you will, right? I live in Dallas. I don't have public transportation or whatnot, but I saw ads for Fort Worth, who happened to be one of our partners, right? That we've been, developing campaigns for. And I thought it was awesome because it was like, I knew Chicago was one of their markets. So it made complete sense, right? Generating that visibility, that connection to Fort Worth, even though Fort Worth is absolutely, talk about fly markets, from Chicago. And I was like, well, wait a second. Just think of all the thousands of people that are coming, seeing that ad on a regular basis, right? And it's not digital, right? This is traditional placement. And then I started to think to myself, I was like, well, that's pretty cool. Well, I had the recall there. I mean, I have a personal connection to it, obviously, but what about just the regular Chicago resident? So then I started having things like, all right, they see it so often. Well, why can't we tie an exposure to really kind of drum up more interest? So then I said, hey, why don't we use data to help tell that story? So I came in, much like some of the emails that you received from me too, I have an idea.
I remember those.
Yeah. So I sent him, I was like, hey, listen, I was here at this station. I saw XYZ. And she's like, oh yes, we've had these, placements in the past. I said, well, how are you reaching those people that are at those stations? She was like, well, we are, because we have those advertisers. It's like, well, you are, but there's so much more that you can do. So what we did is we said, all right, well, let's think beyond that first touch, right? So we were able to geofence specific stations that were within that mile radius of where those traditional placements were when they were coming through those tunnels. And so we were able to target metro riders at those stations, right, with ads related to Fort Worth. But the cool thing with our data, as you know, just is that it's not just at the station. They're still seeing it at the workplace and at home, right? And we're creating all these multiple touch points that started at the station, right? And the cool thing is that they've already invested the time and the money, right? Of course, right? To advertise through traditional placements. So all I was really saying is like, hey, let's try to find another avenue to make an investment, which we're already doing, that complements the existing strategy. So fast forward to today, I mean, we generated over 2,000 visits from Chicago alone from that very strategically led campaign that started with me just on the train.
Wow.
So I mean, that doesn't always happen, but I love it in the industry, to where people like me and you, right? You know what I mean? We're thinking of these things on behalf of our clients and just like saying, hey, it's not just, hey, let's do a campaign.
Yeah.
But here's why. Yeah. And here's how we're going to do it from a step-by-step process. And that's really what I love about my job, right? You know what I mean? Just to be able to support them that way and try to think outside the box as much as possible, Yeah,
that's really helpful. And that shows how helpful you are as a partner to that. Whether it's that organization, that DMO, that CVB, that airport, you bring a lot of great ideas, and that's one of the many reasons why we enjoy partnering with and working with and networking with you and Azira.
We love it too. I mean,
we thank you.
No, absolutely. I mean, it all comes down to just having conversations, being collaborative. Right? That's the name of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Usually we go into a case study, but you kind of just gave a great one.
That's why, because I started thinking what we were talking about, just like where you're generating ideas from and how you put it in action, and really it was just. But I will say though is that's just comes down to great partnerships.
Absolutely.
And
and thank you for your partnership.
No, absolutely, Larry. Appreciate it.
You can go to aquatalks.com where you'll be able to find out more about Daniel and Azira, but also if you were looking at talking to everyone out there that's viewing and listening to us, where would you like them to come and find out more about you, more about what you do, more about Azira, more about what Azira does?
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you. I mean, anytime you can be able to find us, you can find us on our website at Azira.com. But again, as I told you at the very beginning, while 99% of the role that I'm doing is to support the travel industry, there's a ton of information for anybody that just wants to better understand data and insights for travel and a lot of different verticals too. So we'd love to be able to sync up.
Thank you. And you'll hear more on Aqua Talks and welcome to aqua.com about where Aqua's going and a lot of when it comes to the data and analytics, what we'll be doing. We have some great things coming up, and we'll be partnering a lot with Azira.
You've been listening to Aqua Talks, where marketing innovation takes center stage with bold ideas and actionable insights. Ready to take your strategies to the next level? Visit aquatalks.com to book your free consultation and explore resources that empower you to thrive in today's fast-paced marketing world. Until next time, stay bold, stay inspired, stay imaginative.